Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're discussing the Beast. And to be honest about it, this board is very impressive and I have a lot to share. But first, I want to share that we have two giveaways, not just one, but two. The first being that we're actually giving away a set of the Beast board wheels. I'm talking about a full set, guys, for absolutely free, and we'll have some details how you can win those wheels at the end of the video. The second being that I am giving away a hoodie, which has my second design of Be Everywhere with the True to Life lifestyle brand. If you're interested in winning a hoodie, check out my Instagram link below and just simply comment on that particular post and you can enter to win your hoodie. Now let's get into the board. This board is composed of 7 layers of Canadian maple and 1 layer of bamboo. Now many of you guys, when you hear that, you're gonna say, that sounds like a stiff deck. But I'm here to tell you that even though the deck is composed of what it is, this board actually has a decent amount of flex and I actually really like it. And when you pair that with these wheels that are incredibly comfortable, it makes for a very smooth riding experience. And we'll talk a little bit more about the wheels a little bit later. One of the other things that you're gonna notice about this particular board is that it has a good amount of size and length to it. And that allows individuals to get a lot of different foot placements on the board. But it's also incredibly helpful for individuals who may be taller riders who like to get that wider stance when they're riding the board. Now, another thing that makes this board pretty nice is the fact that it has a maximum load of 330 pounds. And what that does is that allows the big boys to go ahead and maybe consider this board as an option. A lot of times, heavier riders were always concerned about, is the enclosure going to be scraping? What is the flex going to look like? Is the board going to be bending? But I'm happy to announce that this board can actually handle heavier riders with ease. This is probably the most fascinating element of this board, and that is these 110 millimeter airless honeycomb wheels. These wheels are incredibly comfortable, and it makes this board, in my opinion, when you take it out of the box, one of the most comfortable out of the box riding experiences that you can get on a board that is actually a street board. And when you look at this, it's not only the comfort level that's going to increase when riding this board, and I kind of talked a little bit about this when I spoke about another wheel, is that wheels that have this particular diameter or this size, it allows for individuals to go over a variety of different cracks and bumps. So individuals that live in areas where they don't have that ideal terrain, where the roads are not smoothly paved, or you might have to jump on the sidewalk occasionally, these wheels are incredibly versatile and it allows you to handle those situations with absolute ease. Incredibly comfortable. The other thing that's very cool about these wheels is that individuals who are a new rider, this wheel really allows you to have a good amount of confidence because you literally can almost roll over almost anything that you'll experience out there on the road, barring a big hole in the ground or something like that. So it really allows you to ride the board with a lot of comfort. Now, one of the things that really interested me about these wheels is that when you look at them, it looks like they're just going to have a very small contact patch, but that's not the case because when riding the board, you actually can see what parts of the wheel are actually in contact with the ground, and actually a pretty decent portion of the wheel is actually making contact with the ground. So that's going to help with carving, and that's also going to allow you to maintain traction when riding the board. So overall, I am incredibly impressed with these wheels, and I'm telling you, you want to go ahead and enter your name so you can win a set of these wheels. Very impressive. This board is actually utilizing, I guess, some unbranded trucks. It doesn't seem to have names on there. But I will say this, when riding the board in this bushing setup, this is one of the few boards that I've received where I actually did not have to change out the bushings. Most of my boards, in order for me to feel comfortable and feel like I'm stable enough to carve and ride at high speeds, I have to change out my bushings. But this particular board, I didn't have to do that at all. All I did was tighten up the trucks, and I was actually able to go out and ride and just enjoy the experience. So I really have no complaints with these trucks. I was actually able to really carve and really enjoy them. My son really enjoys this board as well, and as you can see in the footage, I let him ride this board a lot as well. And I was able to just simply loosen up the trucks so that the bushings were a little bit looser, and he was able to really carve and enjoy it. So I like that I don't have to change out the bushings whether I'm letting my son ride it or I'm riding the board. So I really have no major complaints with these trucks. They're pretty solid to me. This is another area that makes this board incredibly unique, especially for the price point. They are giving you, in my opinion, one of the largest batteries that you're gonna see on a street board in this price range. I don't know how they're doing this, but they're doing it. They're providing us a 25R 12S 4P battery setup, which is equivalent to 432 watt hours. I need y'all to hear that. 432 watt hours. That is a lot of range. Just for comparison purposes, I think a boosted ER was about 190 watt hours. So this board literally has almost a little bit more than double, which is incredibly impressive. What I noticed is that when riding the board, I experienced literally like no battery sag. Now, I did not get a chance to do a complete range test on this board, and that's because this is an initial impression. Now, if you're interested in seeing a complete range test, please leave a comment below so I know that you're interested in seeing that. However, what I can report is that I actually took this board on a group ride, and my son was riding it. And we did about 12 miles, and the battery indicator on the remote did not go down at all when you talk about the battery on the board. Now, I know my son is a much lighter rider than myself or you may be, but my son rides like an adult. He does 20-something miles an hour. And I was impressed by the fact that we were riding that long and he was riding as aggressively as he was, and the battery did not go down. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with that. One of the other things I noticed is that when I was going up a couple of hills, the board is able to maintain the speed that you're trying to go up the whole time. Like, you didn't feel like the battery or the board was struggling trying to do it. So I didn't feel like the board was struggling as I was going up that hill. It maintained like a steady, consistent pace. So I attribute some of that to the motors, but I also attribute some of that to the battery. So overall, this is incredibly impressive to me. For this price point, they're giving you, I think, the largest battery. Very impressive stuff. This board is utilizing two 750 high torque motors, and I can attest to this. This board is incredibly fast. I was able to hit the top speed several times with ease. This board also accelerates going up hills. This is incredibly impressive to me for the price of this board. Now, when riding this board, the other thing that I felt was the torque that this board has. When you're accelerating on this board, it's instantaneous and it's smooth. This board performs, in my opinion, like a board that could easily be, they could be charging a couple of $100s more. So this is very impressive to me that we're getting this type of value out of a board like this. Very impressive stuff. Don't know how they're doing it. This board is utilizing the Hobby Wing ESC, and I like that. If you watch any skate videos, you know that there's a variety of different ESCs that are out there, and a lot of people have settled on that the Hobby Wing ESC is a little bit better because it is intuitive and it's very smooth. What I noticed when riding the board is that when accelerating and braking, it is incredibly responsive, and I just enjoy the overall experience. Now, the remote that comes with this board, I think it's like one of the newer Hobby Wing remotes, and it has a display on there. I really like it. The display is relatively large, and you can see the information that you need to see on the board, whether you're talking about the board battery, the remote battery, or the speed that you're going, incredibly easily. Very intuitive. I really like it. I have no complaints about this ESC. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. Very impressive to me. The brakes are very solid on this board. Out of a 10, I would give these brakes about an 8.5. And I think that they're pretty solid brakes and that the braking curve is adequate in almost every situation. Now, I've had an opportunity to ride different types of boards, and each board has its own braking curve. And it's sometimes when you're riding different boards, it takes a little bit of time to get used to each particular braking curve of that board. And I think that that's the case with this particular board, in that I haven't had a chance to ride the board for hundreds of miles yet to just really learn her in and out. But I would say that these brakes are very solid, and you're going to feel safe when riding this board. And if you need to stop or you're using this board in commute type situations where you're doing a lot of accelerating and braking, I think you're going to be fine with these brakes. Another area that I think that Beast Board is doing incredibly well in. Now, this takes me into To be honest about it, I think that this board is incredibly impressive for the price. And really, I think that they have really kind of put themselves in a place where they're kind of shuffling amongst some of the other more name brand budget boards with this particular offering. But of course, I like to give you guys feedback and things that I think you should consider when trying to purchase a board. Now, one of the things, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, I wish the brakes were just a tiny bit stronger. Are these brakes bad? No, but I have been on boards that have a little bit better braking curve. But I would say that these brakes are very good, and I'm very comfortable with riding this board. I'm also very comfortable with my son riding this board. I wouldn't put him on a board that I didn't feel like was safe and that was adequate. One of the other things I just kind of noticed is that the port where you actually charge the board is actually underneath the board itself. So I just noticed that because I was thinking in terms of sometimes these little plugs, they break or they might come loose, and that may expose the connection areas of where the board actually charge at. But I feel like it's a pretty sturdy connection port there, and I feel like the extra rubber piece that's holding it in place is pretty good. But it was just something that I noticed and I just wanted to mention. This is going to take me into my final thoughts. To be honest about it, I am incredibly impressed with this board. I was not expecting this board to be as good as it is. And really, I feel like this board is right there in some of the upper echelon budget board options that you may see in that $600 to $800 price range. This board is right there. The battery is huge. They're advertising almost 30 miles range, which is incredibly impressive. Now, do I think I might could get 30? No, but if I can get 18 to 20, I'm incredibly excited about that. So that's one thing that is very impressive. I like the fact that this board comes with these wheels that are on this board. This board is incredibly fast and torquey with the 110 millimeter wheels. It makes me wonder how much more torquey would the board be if I put smaller wheels on here. A lot of times when you put these type of wheels, this diameter wheel on other boards, you're gonna get ride comfort, but you lose torque and range and things like that. None of that seems to be the case with this board. So it really makes me wonder if I was to put some 96 millimeter wheels on here, or God forbid some 85 millimeter wheels, this thing is probably gonna be one of the torqueest boards that you can imagine. So that's something that I really like. These wheels are amazing. The motors are really solid on this board, and it climbs hill very well. It accelerates incredibly well. I mean, really good stuff, I think, for the price here. Really enjoy that. I like the way these enclosures look as well. The ESC cover, I've never seen anything like this. It has like some openings on it, but then you can see some type of metal shield on the inside. It's unique and different looking. I really like it. I like it when companies try to do something that's a little unique, that looks a little different. So I like that. Overall, I think that this Beast board is incredibly impressive. And I think that anybody who buys this board, you are getting a lot of bang for your buck. And if you watch this channel, you guys know I'm all about bang for my buck. Specs and how things look and all of those things are important and they're cool, but I'm the type of person that's more concerned about performance. What is the range? Can it climb a hill? What is the acceleration? All of those kind of things I think are the most important areas, and this board has checked off every single box in those areas. I think that people that are going to purchase this board are really going to enjoy this board. Beast Board was kind enough to also give me some discount codes for the board and some discount codes for the wheels. So let's say you enter the giveaway and you're not able to win a set of wheels, you can still purchase yourself a set of wheels at a very good price. I'm going to have details about how you can win that set of wheels in the description of this video. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this video and I earned a like or subscribe, please feel free to do so. Remember, eSkate allows you to be everywhere, and as always, I'll see you at the top because the bottom is too crowded. Peace.